Joining me now to discuss, Senior Director of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, retired U.S. Navy Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery. Let's listen to what White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said this week about the U.S. strikes on alleged drug boats in the Caribbean.
As for the Trump administration's position on our narco-terrorist campaign in the Caribbean, it is going to continue, and the president has made it very clear he's not going to allow terrorists to bring illegal drugs that kill American citizens into our great country.
Okay, so does sending the world's largest aircraft carrier to the region signal deterrence or potential military action?
Well, I think, first, thanks for having me. And absolutely, this is about signaling future military action. This ship has nothing to do with drug operations. I commanded a carrier strike group. At no time did I ever think, okay, counter-drug operations is my mission, first, second, or third mission. Even the Navy ships there now are not the right ones for drug operations. And certainly, Marines on amphibious ships are not the right ones for counter-drug operations. So if we are really going to spend all this military readiness in the Caribbean, I would hope it's about something other than counter-drug operations, and that leads you to the idea that it might be about cost imposition in Venezuela.
Interesting. Okay, the White House and Pentagon, meanwhile, have not confirmed any plans to strike inside of Venezuela. So how should we interpret that silence?
Well, I think if I were in their position, I'd also not say anything. I would just say right now we're shooting the arrows, all these small ships. I think we've sunk 20 now. And it's a difficult thing because it's hard. You can't do battle damage assessment afterwards and confirm that there were drugs on board or that you killed the right people or who you even killed. Whereas if you really want to get the archer, the source of the drugs, you would strike the factories that turn cocaine paste from Colombia into powder for shipping. Those are in Venezuela. They're reasonably easy to target, and those would be an appropriate target for either these destroyers or for a carrier air wing. So from my point of view, that's how I'd use these, and that's why you might bring them into the Caribbean.
You touched on this briefly at the top of the interview, but deploying the largest aircraft carrier in the world to that area and the expansion of this campaign, sending to Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro and his allies, what message overall can we take from this as Americans? Do we agree with this? What are your thoughts?
Well, first, I do support the president in Homeland Defense. He's made a priority of this, and he says countering drugs is part of Homeland Defense. I'm not sure we're getting at the drugs that are killing Americans. I think that's fentanyl that's coming across the border from Mexico. But this is a strong signal that the United States cares about who's running which countries in South America, and that we'll impose our will on someone like Maduro, who is, not the legally elected leader of Venezuela, and that if they're shipping drugs, in this case, I think cocaine, to Europe and a little bit to the United States, we're going to eliminate that source of revenue and kill the narco-terrorists involved. Again, I wouldn't do it the way we're doing it, but I understand, he's president, and this is a national security decision he's made.
Okay. Let's switch gears a little. Secretary of State Marco Rubio also announcing this week that the U.S. plans to list 4 anti-fascist groups across Europe as global terrorists and foreign terrorist organizations starting November 20th. How big of a shift is this, and what new powers does it give Washington against these groups?
So this is interesting. I mean, certainly these aren't groups that jumped front of mind when you think about terrorist organizations. And they lack a lot of the normal characteristics of terrorist organizations, the kind of leadership, the membership, the kind of signaling about violence that you tend to see in terrorist organizations. Having said that, you have to give a lot of latitude to the State Department in making these decisions. So given that this might be accurate, then these organizations and the members in them will be sought out by the United States either through criminal or military, intelligence and military action. For arrest or if they're in the United States, for imprisonment. But none of these, to my knowledge, these groups are generally in their European countries, and they're operating within those same European countries. So this is a little performative in the sense that I don't believe there's going to be any immediate action coming out of Secretary Rubio's designation of these 4 groups.
Okay. Retired U.S. Navy Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.